Hi everybody! So most of you have seen a video I posted a couple years ago called No More Food for Me, Life with the GJ Tube, and I wanted to do a follow-up video on that. A lot of you have shown me so much support, encouragement through that video. I do want to say I am able to eat some foods. It just depends on how dense the food is. It also depends on how soft the food is, how well I'm going to be able to swallow it. Will my stomach tolerate it? It's just, I'm very picky about what I eat. I eat a lot of applesauce, a lot of ice cream, coconut ice cream, and Starbucks Frappuccinos. So I am eating and my prayers have been answered. I noticed that I'd gotten a lot of swallowing abilities back and tolerating my food a lot better after my Rituxan infusion last May. So let's get started. First off, I do things differently now. I've had my feeding tube for 4 years, and over that time I've learned to do things so much quicker, more efficient, and better. I just want to say, before you get started with your feeding tube, always wash your hands, and if you can't get to a sink or whatever, or don't have time, sanitize them. So before we get started, I'm going to hand sanitize my hands. I still have my Intralite Infinity pump, and that's the kind of bag that I'm going to be using today. So here's the formula I use. It's Vital. One thing I do want to say is, for those of you who are using a feeding tube because of dysmotility or gastroparesis problems, if you think that when you run your feeding tube, if you're having a lot of uncomfortable feelings, if you think it's just because of the gastroparesis or the dysmotility, and you're thinking, oh, it's just because my system is slow, and you notice that you're slowing the speed of your formula, you might want to consider changing formulas before you think that it's all connected to your GI system first. I'd noticed when I'd first gotten my feeding tube, I just thought that it was not tolerating my food well was because of gastroparesis, problems with my dysmotility, and then I changed formulas and it was getting better. I used to change formula just about like every 4 to 6 months, and until I found Vital, I noticed that it works a lot better for me, and I've been on it for a little over a year now. So I don't prime my feeding tube using the pump anymore. I prime by hand, and I hold it up in the air like this because the more gravity that the bag has, the faster it'll prime. And I'll just do this standing up, holding it in the air. I call this my Statue of Liberty pose. So let's see. It just primes so much faster by hand. There we go. So I'll hang that up. I won't start it yet. I want to talk about medication. Medication now. In my other video, I just crushed all my medication up, got all the liquid medications and put it all in one cup because I just didn't want to take on the extra water and fluid that it'd take to do every single one of them one by one. But here's an important thing that you need to know. Each medication contains different chemicals that are mixed together, and if you say you have like 4 or 5 different medications, if you get all of them and you mix them all together, you could be causing chemical chaos within your medications. You can cause very bad and severe reactions to yourself. Some of them I have experienced myself, and that's why I started doing them separately. You can get little cups like this to keep your medications in. I have 4 of them right now because I have 4 medications I need to do. Do them separately. It's worth not putting your life at risk. Another thing I wanted to say is some medications you don't always have to crush, and some medications you shouldn't even be crushing. Always ask your doctor if the medication you're crushing can be crushed, and always make sure to ask them if it comes in a liquid form called an elixir. That way you don't have to crush it in the first place. This medication I have right now is really easy to dissolve. So I don't crush it. I just drop it in there and let it dissolve, because I found that when you crush it, it's easy not to get in the whole dose, because it gets stuck in this, and then it gets stuck in these little spiral things, and you're not going to get your whole dose. So if you've been crushing your meds the whole time and you've never checked to see if they can be dissolved, check and see if they can be dissolved. This one dissolves within about 10 seconds. So I'm going to get the whole thing in. And I flush with more water now too, because it keeps my tube site, the inner tube cleaner. So I'm just going to push this through. If you can see this, I had surgery last year to get my GJ tube changed into just a J tube going straight into my small intestine, because I had such a horrible time with the tube coming back up my throat, which is very rare. I don't know why, but I just had the strangest problems. Most people, when they're digesting stuff, it all pulls down, but somehow my tube would always come up. So my doctor, I had surgery to get this one placed. This time, the surgery for this was much easier than the first time I had surgery for a feeding tube. They actually listened to me this time, and I did general anesthesia, and they listened to me, but for some reason that I can't find out why, they took out more intestines than they should have, and they couldn't explain to me why they needed to remove parts of me while I was in surgery. It was also supposed to be a laparoscopic surgery, and when I woke up, I kid you not, I had a incision just a little over a foot long, and I was like, what went on in there? I just really wish I knew why they had removed a long length of intestine from me. So, I also want to talk to you guys about stoma care for your tube site. I use a steroidal cream to keep down granulation tissue. It's this. And you can see I'm like out, so I need to go get a prescription. And in between those uses, because of acidic leakage from my stoma site, I use Aquaphor. And what this does is creates like a barrier over my skin, and when the acidic stuff leaks out, it just rolls right over the aquaphor and doesn't cause burns. So that's just about all I have to say for you guys. Thank you so much for your support, and I hope this was more educational. Wash your hands, keep your medications separate. If you have any questions, just leave a comment. Bye.